Welcome to ARK Survival Ascended. More specifically, welcome to the Island A to Z Challenge. In this series, I'm challenged with taming every single dino on the island in alphabetical order, and the rules are pretty simple. Firstly, and most obviously, I cannot tame a creature until I have tamed the previous tameable creature in the Dododex list of creatures which are sorted in alphabetical order. Secondly, I'm allowed to go back at any point to tame a creature which I have tamed previously, meaning that after I have tamed the creature for the first time, I have them permanently unlocked. Thirdly, once I reach a boss in the creature list, I cannot tame anything further than them until I defeat the boss on at least Gamma difficulty. So, for example, when I reach the Broodmother, I will only have access to the dinos I have unlocked so far, such as the Allosaurus and Baryonyx. Sound easy? Well, consider that I don't have access to the Eutyrannus or any of the other critical boss fighting dinos such as Rexes and Ferrozinos until after the Overseer is defeated, meaning I'll have to get creative on how I battle some of the bosses. This is the A to Z challenge. Since this is the first installment of the series, my first target is the Achatina snail. Although not being a very powerful creature, the taming requirements are no easy task for a first tame. Firstly, Achatina can only be found in caves and in swamps, making finding one without a dino and also keeping it safe an already daunting task. Secondly, to tame the Achatina, I will require sweet veggie cakes, meaning I'll have to obtain vegetables, honey, as well as tree sap without having access to any tames to travel or provide poop for fertilizer. Stay tuned to see how I manage to overcome this hurdle and proceed on to my second and more useful tame, the Allosaurus. And so, my grand adventure started the same way any good ARK playthrough does.
Oh, hello.
Next to raptors.
Okay. Okay. Leave me alone.
Following this, I decided to punch a tree for 10 thatch and 1 wood, as well as picking up a rock off the beach, just so I could craft my very first pickaxe. Following this, I applied my level so that I could learn the stone hatchet. I'll be playing this series mostly vanilla, meaning without mods. However, I am using a couple mods such as Dino Depot and Pullet just to make my life a little bit easier. I've chosen this spawn location because it's near to a lot of the key tames that I'll need to tame at the start of the series. For example, I can find Achatina up at the swamp, right here. I can find Allosaurus at the mountain, located over here. When I need to tame Aranio, there's a cave located here. And I can find anglerfish in the water just down here. I started hitting some trees for resources while I planned for my first tricky tame.
So we need to make a sap tap, and then journey on foot to the redwoods in the centre of the map, the most dangerous biome. So we'll go around up here, we'll follow this lake down, and then kind of just, there's loads of big pillars here, so we can kind of just grapple and parachute over until we get to a tree where I'll just AFK waiting for sap, and just, kind of AFK there just so I don't die, really. And I don't really know where I'm going to get bee honey. You can find some, down here, and then some, here, but if they don't spawn, then we're kind of screwed, and we have to go to, the redwoods. Or just, try to find other beehive locations. But yeah, not an easy first tame.
I then crafted some cloth armor and started crafting storage boxes for XP before fighting a Dillo.
Oh, these things can stack on top of each other now, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, he's really pretty. Die. This gives a good bit of hide. Bit of meat as well that we can cook.
As well as being ambushed by a second Dillo, before I started placing down some foundations to my first little starter base.
I am quite good on these little seagulls. I got him with the torch. Now that was a pro gamer move. Where is he? Ha, what did I tell ya?
Next on my agenda was crafting a campfire so I could cook up some meat from my previous victims. With the hide I'd gathered so far, my goal was to craft a raft. You see, we could take this raft over to the nearby Herbivore Island to give us not only a safe place for us to live and keep our dinos so that none of them die, but also to get us a supply of metal, because I was really tired of gathering fibre by hand.
Land ahoy!
Another ideal thing about Herbivore Island is that it has a large concentration of fairly large dinos, meaning that since I won't have access to many dinos to collect fertilizer from, I can use this island to collect poo to grow my crops.
I do need a storage box, because out of all the ones I've crafted, I don't have a single one. Just so we can kind of, unload our weight a bit. Because we need to bring, metal back and forth, and obviously if we don't have much weight, we can't carry a lot of metal in each go.
I headed straight towards the nearest metal rock, before returning to my raft and trying to find something to kill for hide so that I could make a refining forge. I decided to kill a nearby Anki, who I defeated by kind of just kiting it around all the rocks. I crafted and placed my refining forge before getting into a bit of an unfortunate predicament.
Beaver's like C, so yeah, that's not too... Oh god, this is bad. We're not winning this fight, so the best I can do is make a sleeping bag. I go underwater, can he swim down? Or is he stuck up there? He's stuck up there, I think. Okay. Is there anything that's going to kill us down here? Oh, it's very cold. Very, very cold. Okay. Go on to the surface. Place the sleeping bag. Oh, rip. Rip. Oh, that's okay.
After a small amount of work, I crafted another raft and made my way back to the island to pick up the stuff that I'd died with.
God, what a little detour that was. Oh, hello, shark. Is he going to attack the bird? He can't catch it. He's not been able to hit it yet. The bird's just cruising along. Oh, that's funny. Just
I then crafted a smithy and bed before going out to mine some metal with my brand new metal pickaxe.
A little bit more. Oh, I've fallen. I shouldn't die. Barely. Oh well, it's fine. I don't think there's any metal down here, but oh well. This area in the middle here is where we're going to build our base. Oh, I'm really good at doing this. That's going to kill me. Oh, maybe we should put railings around around the little room of the island. Because that's the second time that I've fallen now. I'm not.
I then crafted a metal sickle and hatchet and got to work building the base. After relocating my structures to the new house and building a few large crop plots, I looted a nearby supply drop which gave me stimulants, which were a key ingredient in sweet veggie cakes. Following this, I began gathering thousands of bushes while collecting poop from the local dinos so that I could grow the 3 of the 4 major vegetables, as I would need savourit, rock carrot, and long grass in order to make my cakes to tame an Acatina.
My poo? Where is my poo, dude? I can never find my own poo. Whenever I poo, it just disappears. I need to start pooing on my floor. No. Someone's gonna say that on contact.
Since both collecting poop and waiting for my crops to grow would be so time consuming, I decided to aim for 3 medium poop per trough, as I felt that 3 would be the perfect amount to keep the crops growing until I was ready to tame an Acatina, meaning I could get a head start on collecting the 2 other major ingredients I required for the cakes. I planted my seeds and created a preserving bin, before making some of the remaining metal tools and heading out on my raft to find either some cementing paste or some chitin. Due to not being able to find any beaver dams for cementing paste, I opted for killing trilobites for chitin. After crafting a tree sap tap, I put on some new flak armour and went to the nearby lava cave, so that I could grab some chitin to make cementing paste, and therefore grappling hooks to take with me into the redwoods.
Alright, run. Hopefully we can pull something other than bad. Oh, wow. So basically if we die, this is not going to set us back.
After definitely not dying a couple times from other bats in the cave, I finally found an Aranio to kill, and shot it dead to harvest chitin. I also grabbed a little bit of crystal before leaving the cave so that I could make an awesome spyglass.
Good chitin.
And so, our grand voyage began. After repairing all my weapons and armour, as well as crafting a few grappling hooks, I set off to the top of the map, where we'd be accessing this river to get to the point of the redwoods where I could access a tree easily without being attacked. As long as we got to a tree, I could easily attach my sap tap and just AFK there for a small while to collect the sap that we need to make veggie cakes. We wouldn't need very much, so it wouldn't take me very long. Are you ready? Here we go. Success! After obtaining our tree sap, I went back to the base and put a preserving bin on the raft. I used this to place the vegetables in so that they didn't spoil while I went to find bee honey. Annoyingly, there's a bug in single player meaning that giant bees didn't produce hives when they spawned, meaning that after I found 5 wild giant bees, which is very rare in itself really, I had to spawn in a hive, but I spawned it in an area where I found a bee anyway, so it was fairly legit.
Perfect.
After collecting some honey and crafting 5 veggie cakes, it was finally time to go to the swamp and claim our first tame of the challenge. But of course, that wouldn't be easy.
Greg, this is what we didn't want, a carrot. Good. No!
And so we did it. We ended up losing a lot of our stuff, but we successfully tamed our first tame, the Achatina. I named it Apple as I thought that was quite fitting, you know, A, Apple, blah blah blah. But one big hurdle still awaited us. It was time for our first big tame, and we needed narcotics, a lot of them. So in the background here you can see, you know, a little bit of footage of me spending entirely way too long collecting narcotics. I don't know how long it was, it probably felt longer than it was, probably around 20 minutes to be honest. But I was picking bushes for a long time basically, and all this would lead up to our next grand voyage, the trip to go find an aloe. We would check Polymer Mountain first, so I'll just leave that there. And so, we left on our grand voyage to find allosaurs. Aloes would be pretty crucial in this run, because we could use them not only for fighting the Broodmother boss, but also to help us track down some of the harder early game tames, such as the Archaeopteryx, which is only found in the Redwood biome. All I needed was a couple low levels so I could have a breeding pair, because I would need some way to farm XP so that I could make scuba to tame our next tame, the anglerfish. We'd be checking the 2 mountains alongside the river we travelled down to get our tree sap, but I wasn't too fussed about a high level. We can come back for one of those later once we have an Argentavis, because that'll make things a lot easier, especially with janky single player spawns.
Oh, 2 of them? Okay, that's not good.
After patrolling the mountain a couple times, and noticing that there had been no aloe spawns, I decided to check the next mountain along, Polymer Mountain, and I actually had a lot more luck over there. And although we'd now found our first 2 aloes, 2 low-level females, we were now faced with a new unique problem. This was a glitch I was very familiar with from ARK Survival Evolved, where aloes would spawn inside of each other, and if you tried to hurt them or move them, they'd just kind of disappear. Luckily for me, once I went to go grab some resources from my raft, they actually managed to free themselves, which I wasn't aware they could do. They also had a male nearby, so I decided to get cracking making a trap to try and contain all of them.
Hello, I know you can get through this doorway. Okay, there's one. Hello, I swear to God, get in the cage. Perfect. These guys are both the same gender, aren't they? Male. Female. Perfect. Okay. But only problem is, the other one's still gonna be around somewhere. Yeah, you're going down. Okay, that's one down. There it is. What are the chances we can manage to get into this trap without killing these allos? So as long as they don't tame up before, you know, thingy. Come on. What are the chances, bro? He just walked straight into a bear trap.
And so, with a stroke of luck, I managed to successfully knock out and tame all 3 allos from the pack. I named them Adam, Amelia, and Ava, and made some cryospheres so I could get them back to my base safely from the Dino Depot mod. As soon as I got back to base, I created an egg collector and let them breed up for a long time so I could collect a huge amount of eggs, because I need to get to level 81 so that I can make some scuba gear for our next tame, the anglerfish, and I didn't want to wait too long. After genociding the Allosaurus' offspring, I used some polymer I gained from killing ducks to make a full set of scuba gear, as well as farming some narcoberries to make a bunch of narcotics, and descended into the water. Despite having gotten the scuba and narcotics I needed to tame the anglerfish, one problem still faced me. You see, when you're in the water without a dino, you can't regain stamina while swimming, so how was I meant to find an anglerfish and knock one out without, drowning at the bottom of the water? Well, my secret weapon was a chair. You see, you could actually place a chair at the bottom of the ocean and sit in it, which actually didn't count as you being swimming anymore, meaning that if I sat on the chair, I could regain stamina while being sat at the bottom of the ocean.
I don't want to do that.
This
So
would be
we'll
the
stick
key
with
to how I would tame the anglerfish, our third tame.
Oh, anglerfish.
After a stroke of luck, I found an anglerfish really easily, and it followed me into the trap without many problems, well, other than my death, but that wasn't a huge problem because I could just swim back down from the bed on my boat, collect my stuff, and knock out the anglerfish, which happened really easily, but I didn't bring enough narcotics, so I had to do it again a few minutes later. But we secured our 4th tame, the anglerfish. As soon as I'd cryopodded the anglerfish, I went straight back to Herbivore Island and immediately knocked out one Anki as well as stealing the child of another Anki, immediately ticking off dino number 4 from the list. I was really glad to finally have an Anki, as this was actually our first berry gather in the challenge, and let me tell you, gathering narcotics took a hell of a long time. Honestly, I'd be there for over half hour just picking up plants whenever I wanted to go for my next big tame, like the angler. So finally having a berry gatherer and something capable of gathering metal was really nice to have alongside me. Moving forward, I began crafting a trap and some armour, and then travelling to the nearby cave to tame our next tame, the Aranio. This would be one of our easiest tames yet, because all I had to do was trap it in a box, so as long as there was one near the entrance, I could easily tame it without the use of bug repellent. And so, once I hastily found one, all it took was a little bit of trapping, feeding, and it was tamed. Creature number 5. As soon as I returned home with the Aranio, I cryopodded most of my allosaurs and went straight to the redwoods. I was in search of our next tame, the Archaeopteryx. We found one quite quickly and painlessly, and proceeded to immediately knock it out and feed it up, which didn't take very long, and returned home with our 6th tame. The next tame was one that I've been waiting for the entirety of this challenge so far. That's right, the Argentavis would be a game changer, because so far, I'd pretty much been on foot for the entire challenge. Other than Allos, I didn't really have a dino I could ride around on. And RG suited the role perfectly. Once I got an RG, I could also go out and hunt for a high-level Allo, meaning that the RG would really be our key to the Broodmother, as well as basically everything else in this challenge. And, as luck would have it, I found a 140 RG almost straight away. I promptly placed a trap and got it trapped up. After I had started knocking out the RG, a nearby lower level started attacking me. For the time being I ran away, but I'd definitely kill it later to get some prime meat to tame my 140. After the Argentavis tame was up, I promptly welcomed Arrow to the team, and headed in the location of the nearby mountain. I was really hoping to find an aloe with decent stats, and with the RG that would be a lot easier than if I was going on foot. You see, I could easily just fly from mountain to mountain and even start killing some of the lower levels. Things would get a lot easier from here on out. As you can see, I ended up finding and trapping this level 120 female. Despite 120 typically being a lowish level by my standards for a breeder dino, I was really impressed by the 27 melee for such a low level dino. 27 is by no means a high stat, but for a 120, that stat it was quite incredible to be honest, so I tamed it up, and it actually came out with pretty good stats with over 30 in both health and melee, which is what you might expect to see on a low end 150 tame, so I was happy. And I flew back to base immediately. I got the aloes breeding up, using the Dino Deep mod to help me pick up the baby aloes and help me sift through their stats a bit easier, just so we get the best stats for the Broodmother fight. Okay, and the next tame was quite an interesting one. So we went down to the lower south cave in search of an Arthropleura. I brought my aloes with me in cryopods, because obviously I can't take my RG inside the cave, and scattered around for a bit, looked for a, near to the entrance Arthropleura. For some reason, completely slipped my mind to grab this artifact, which we would need very soon, but I can always come back for that one later. I led the Alphabetical near to the entrance of the cave, where I souped in with my RG and dropped it into a bit of a containment chamber, 1 foundation, 3 walls high, and there's quite an interesting little taming method. Obviously it's just passive tame, but using the box you can pretty much bypass its aggression and just feed it straight through the walls. So yeah, that was our next tame completed. Okay, so moving very swiftly onwards from that success, we found a 135 male baryonyx. Didn't even take that long. I made a wonderful little trap to contain it and knock it out. Turns out, didn't even need it, got itself stuck, not complaining about that. So yeah, the baryonyx would definitely be a very, very useful dino, because it's a compact powerhouse really. You can bring it into caves, and it can manage most of the caves just on its own, so a very good tame for us to have. So that was the next tame, ticked off the list. Perfect, ideal tame. Anyways, in the background you can see we're going for a Basilosaurus straight away now. Very quick paced, I know I do have to talk about a little bit quickly. This footage you're watching now, me taming the Basilosaurus, was a couple months ago. That was around the time I last, went on the A to Z Wild. I've taken a bit of a break as new maps came out, got a little bit distracted, but I'm back, better than ever, and as you can see, I've taken a bit of a tone change in my commentary. So from here on out, the video is going to be a bit more quick paced and exciting, so yeah, thanks for sticking around so far in the video. Enjoy the rest of the video. Also, another quick PS, because it's been a couple months, some ARK Edition dinos have been added, and I'm sure before the video's over, maybe 1 or 2 more might be added, but the video will be produced a lot more quickly now. So I'm, the counter on the top of your screen, every time I say my dino, probably slightly incorrect at the moment. I'll have to correct that and make sure it's more accurate. So you'll see that change from this point in the video as well. So we went out on the home stretch to fighting our first boss, the Broodmother, but there were a couple things I had to do first. Firstly, I took the aloes out and went to gather some hide, because we needed a lot more hide for the saddles. So I went out for about 20 minutes with a pack of aloes, killed a bunch of stuff, and got enough hide. I then made 20 saddles, 1 for all of my aloes. Bear in mind, I won't have a UC in the fight, so I will have a full 20 aloes. I also brought a Beelzebufo home using my Argentavis, tamed that up quickly using a small trap, and named it Boris. More specifically, I named her Boris. I also tamed a Bronto just above my base, welcoming Bruno to our team.
Hello.
Bruno will be the final creature in the first part of the video, meaning that next is the Broodmother. But we still had a task in our way. We had to go to the 3 starter caves and claim their artifacts. Once we did that, we'd have enough to fight the Broodmother. So, let's go do it. By the way, I'm really glad sleeping bags exist, because it seems like they've really souped up the rate of getting mega rabies from bats. Honestly, I was swimming in this stuff. Every 20 seconds I had a new set of mega rabies. It was actually kind of insane. Let's roll the footage. With all 3 artifacts collected and a victory dance underway, the first part of the video is coming to an end. So now it's time to fight the Broodmother, and honestly, this could go either way. You know, our allos aren't the best, and the Broodmother can be pretty tough. But I think we can do it. With the nerves getting to me, I decided there was nothing to it but to go to the green orb and start throwing the allos out. I started at the boss fight, and now it was time to see what would happen. As soon as the fight started, I whistled my allos to go straight in onto the Broodmother. I wanted to try and get some of the allos behind her so they weren't all taking damage, but it didn't really matter too much, I just wanted them to be dealing some damage. The damage the Broodmother was doing wasn't too high, but of course allos don't have the highest health stat. It wasn't terrible by any means, but definitely not as high as something like a wreck, so I was a little bit worried, but I was definitely reassured by the lowish amount of damage it was dealing. As the Broodmother's health reached about halfway, I could see that my allos were already getting super bloody, and I was getting very worried for how the battle would turn out, but we kept persevering and didn't give up just yet. Every now and then, I'd whistle the allos onto aggressive to focus on the spider minions, but for most of the time I had them whistled directly onto the Broodmother. As her health bar neared the red, we lost our first allo. This was very concerning, and I thought this could be a turning point for the battle. But no, we pulled through, and the Broodmother was defeated with only 1 casualty. And so, that marked the end of the first part of the A to Z challenge. We'd successfully managed to beat the Broodmother and claimed her element. In the next installment of the A to Z challenge, we'll be taking down the Dragon Boss and going slightly further in terms of tames. This will be really challenging because the Dragon is an incredibly difficult boss, and we aren't going to have many dinos at our disposal to use. Make sure to subscribe so you can check that out as soon as it releases.
I actually thought we were going to lose that. I didn't think that was going to be a win.
So, I reminisced on the short time I'd spent so far on the island. The challenge was only just beginning, and I was looking forward to see what was next in stock. This is my first major ARK project and YouTube project, so if you did enjoy it and you were excited to see more, make sure to subscribe. Every future part of this A to Z and any other challenge I do in the future is going to be of a much higher standard. Obviously, getting better and better the more I experiment, so make sure to, let me know in the comments and motivate me to get better, and yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed this part of the A to Z challenge, and I'll see you shortly in the next one.